Okay, let's dive right into this explainer where we're going to distill the completely chaotic, red flag riddled plot of the massive best-selling dark romance, Twisted Love. If you haven't read it, or, if you're just totally baffled by why it's dominating the bestseller charts, buckle up. Today, we're breaking down one of the most convoluted, wild rides in modern fiction, and we'll see exactly how a seemingly standard romance transforms into a masterclass of unhinged behavior.
I'll kill any man that touches you. You are mine always. So, does that sound like a chilling threat from a true crime serial killer documentary or the swoon-worthy climax of a romance novel? Well, in the world of the dark romance subgenre, the line between terror and affection isn't just blurred, it's completely erased. We're going to unpack exactly how a quote like this gets framed as the ultimate romantic gesture. Section 1. Grumpy Billionaire Meets Sunshine. To really understand the madness here, we have to look at how it starts. And it starts deceptively normal. College senior Ava has this overprotective older brother, Josh. He leaves for a volunteer trip in Central America and asks his brooding, wealthy best friend Alex to move in next door and watch over her. Standard trope, right? But that grounding in reality completely snaps when you compare these two characters. Ava is a pretty grounded, optimistic 22-year-old photography major. She feels like an actual, real person. But then you look at Alex's character sheet. It's almost absurd. He's a 26-year-old CEO with a 160 IQ. He invented financial modeling software at 14, and he has highly superior autobiographical memory. The narrative basically stacks all these impossible, superhuman stats to try and justify the completely unhinged behavior he's about to display, all under the guise of being a quote-unquote genius.
Section 2, Red Flag, Boundary Issues.
And trust me, it does not take long for that behavior to surface. Literally 1 week. It takes 1 week of living next door for Alex's actions to escalate from your standard grumpy brooding into our very first major red flag. And let's be clear about what we mean by boundary issues here. We're not talking about accidentally reading a diary. We're talking about completely ignoring a person's agency to enforce obsessive control over their life. So within days, Alex secretly installs these expensive high-tech security alarms at Ava's house and runs extensive background checks on literally everyone she interacts with. And he does all of this without ever telling her or, asking for her consent. And this need for control, it quickly reaches a boiling point. Get this. When Ava doesn't text him back within an hour, Alex just barges right into her house, uninvited. He interrupts a totally private, consensual boudoir photo shoot she's doing for a friend's portfolio. And he doesn't just ask what's going on, he physically yanks the camera away, deletes the memory card, and then actually threatens to use his billionaire connections to blacklist the photographer's career if anyone complains. It's wild, but it perfectly illustrates how extreme possessiveness gets introduced early on and framed to the reader as protection. Section 3. The Soap Opera Family Twist.
Okay, so let's move to the middle of this explainer because this is where the standard college romance aggressively pivots. We leave that simple grumpy sunshine stuff in the dust and dived headfirst into a suffocatingly dense web of soap opera twists. To untangle this, we have to look at Ava's newly recovered childhood trauma. Out of nowhere, she remembers that during her parents' divorce, it wasn't her mother who pushed her into a lake to drown her. Actually, scratch that, it was her father, Michael. Later on, a young Ava writes a sweet school essay praising her dad as her hero. And his reaction? He tries to smother her to death with a pillow just because she looks too much like her mom. This trauma was so intense it caused a complete memory blackout that lasted into her early 20s.
So Ava and Alex obviously confront him, but her dad doesn't just deny it. Oh no, he goes full theatrical villain monologue. He gleefully brags about implanting false memories in a traumatized child. He confesses that he framed her mother with drugs to win custody, all because he wrongly believed Ava was an illegitimate child from an affair. I mean, it is pure mustache-twirling villainy just dropped squarely into the middle of a romance plot. But wait, it gets crazier, because this wouldn't be a true dark romance without dueling villain monologues, right? Alex fires back with his own speech. He reveals that he secretly ruined Michael's life and business from the inside. Why? Because Alex mistakenly thought Michael ordered a hit that killed Alex's parents years ago. But, plot twist, Alex just found out his own adoptive uncle Ivan actually ordered the hit, and he did it over a romantic rejection from Alex's mom. The layers of betrayal here are just staggering. It's like a giant violent puzzle. Which brings us to Section 4, Red Flag, Gratuitous Violence. The sheer volume of enemies in this labyrinth of a plot leads directly to our next red flag, Because Alex's primary method for solving inconveniences isn't his 160 IQ, and it isn't his vast wealth. It's extreme physical retaliation. We're talking gratuitous violence, excessive force that's actually presented as an attractive, even sexy gesture. For example, earlier in the story, Ava's ex-boyfriend verbally harasses her. Alex steps in and beats the man completely unconscious. When a terrified Ava begs to call an ambulance, Alex just brushes it off. He claims his genius brain expertly targeted only non-vital organs, so the guy is fine. The text literally normalizes brutality as a core component of their romance. And this violently escalates during the climax with Uncle Ivan. Ivan takes Ava hostage to extort Alex. So Alex rescues her by revealing he's already secretly dosed Ivan with a slow-acting, untraceable poison. But I guess that wasn't enough because he shoots Ivan multiple times anyway. And for the grand finale, he sends Ava out of the room and literally skins one of Ivan's henchmen alive. Yes, skins him alive. Now you might be wondering, how does anyone get away with this in a modern setting? Well, to wrap up this bizarre mafia thriller pivot, Alex uses his all-powerful billionaire connections. He has discreet cleanup teams on standby to erase any evidence. They jam local police communications, and he simply burns the building down to hide the bodies. Zero legal consequences. It's basically the ultimate fantasy of unaccountable power. Section 5. The ultimate stalker romance. Following this massive, life-altering trauma, Ava understandably cuts ties with the psychopathic murderer she's been dating. She moves across the ocean to London for a prestigious photography fellowship to get a fresh start and heal. It's a healthy, totally necessary choice. But, as you'll see, healthy boundaries don't exactly sustain dark romance novels. Astonishingly, Alex completely abandons his CEO position, flies to London, and stalks her for 365 days, an entire year of unrelenting, non-consensual pursuit. He actually hires former Navy SEALs to track her movements at first before eventually taking over the duties himself. He waits outside her flat every single day, and when a completely terrified Ava threatens him with a restraining order, he casually mentions that he can leverage his powerful friends in the British government to just ignore it. Oh, and he flat out tells her that if any other man so much as touches her, he will murder them. He completely systematically strips away her legal and personal right to say no. In the grand finale of removing her agency, we have this absolutely perfect comparison. Think about it. In a normal romance, a partner might buy a piece of art to support your burgeoning career. That's sweet, right? But in this dark romance, Alex secretly and anonymously buys out her entire year-end art show. It's framed by the narrative as this deeply romantic, sweeping gesture, but practically, it ensures she'll never actually know if her work could succeed on its own merit. He fundamentally feels the need to own and control every single thing she does. Ultimately, as they inevitably get back together, literally sweeping a year of stalking and multiple homicides under the rug to celebrate Thanksgiving together, we really have to ask ourselves, is this romantic or is it completely terrifying? How did this unhinged descent into psychopathic behavior, boundary obliteration, and extreme violence become celebrated as a massive best-selling love story? And what does it say about our cultural fantasy of the protective partner? That is a fascinating, if not slightly disturbing question I'll leave you to ponder today. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and remember, always keep questioning the narratives you consume.